Somerset Lives. Every Saturday morning, I get nosy with an interesting person from Somerset. We find out about their background, their passions and their interests. We get a little bit extra out of them as well in the Somerset Shuffle. 52 playing cards, each with its own quirky question to answer completely at random. Let's find out who our Somerset Lives guest is today. Is a writer who grew up in London but has lived in Netherstowey here in Somerset since he was 15. Netherstowey, a village famous for its literary history, he teaches and lectures about the romantic poets at the home of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Ben is also a trained actor, and his writing has been published on various websites and music magazines despite having dyslexia. He studied English literature at university and worked for many years in London on architectural and interior design publications. He's already been featured on national BBC radio talking of his experiences as an author, and his poetry is on display at the Roald Dahl Museum. The Vril Codex is his first novel and the first in the Vril Chronicles series. We're going to be talking about that. Now, as well as writing, Ben is passionate about cricket, and he was coached by England bowlers Norman Cowans and Wilf Slack in the early 80s, although it had to be dropped as a career option when he was younger due to a chronic back problem. He keeps his passion for the sport alive, though, now by commentating at the county ground for Somerset. Ben also has some very interesting relatives, including a mother who used to model for Patrick Litchfield and a gran who is psychic. His first book, The Vril Codex, is described as a chilling nightmare horror in the dark, bleak landscape of Berlin. Part gothic romance, part conspiracy theory thriller, and it's the first in a series. So what with Coleridge, cricket and conspiracies, you would think that was more than enough to keep a man busy. But Ben also volunteers for the British Heart Foundation after he himself had a heart attack in his 30s. We welcome Ben Manning to Somerset Lives. Good morning.
Good morning.
Will I be into trouble with your nan for calling her psychic nan?
No. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, so she's no doubt looking down on us as we speak, I hope.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about her. You grew up in London until the age of 15, so did you always want to be a writer? Was it something you harboured?
Well, when I started reading sort of poetry and literature from quite a young age, obviously the romantic poets, Coleridge, Wordsworth, but particularly people like George Orwell, 1984, Brave New World, Robert Graves, I, Claudius, Charles Dickens, Asimov, just a wide range, really.
At what sort of age were you reading those kinds? Because they're quite heavyweight, aren't they?
About 13, 14 onwards. So yeah, it was. In some ways, I was a better reader then than I am now. I used to get through books really quickly. Roald Dahl was a favourite of mine too.
Yeah.
You mentioned just now. Used to love watching old shows like Tales of the Unexpected and Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Twilight Zone and these kind of old Hammer horrors and Vincent Price. That's what sort of turned me on as a child. That's what I loved, got me into writing.
Now, you say you have dyslexia, so is your dyslexia a writing or reading? Because to be reading those kinds of things at a young age, it obviously wasn't affecting you badly, was it?
Well, it was in terms of my performance with writing, yeah. I mean, I found because in those days, it's not that long ago, but dyslexia wasn't really recognised, and it wasn't diagnosed for me until I was at art school, which was quite a few years later in my 20s. So through my schooling, I suffered, and early college years, I suffered quite a bit because I was sort of banging my head against the wall, wondering why I'm always making these mistakes. I feel quite intelligent, but it doesn't look it on the page. So it does sort of affect your confidence a bit, and it did knock me back a bit. But that's something that every dyslexia sufferer probably